So at the time of posting this video, we are well and truly gearing up towards the festive period, towards Christmas. And so many of us take time off over Christmas, spend more time with family. And it could be a time where you are so busy, you don't have chance to be looking at your phone. But if you find you go the opposite way, today I wanted to share with you how to reduce your phone use over Christmas. So I think first of all, as I said before, it really does relate to what your Christmas is looking like. It could be the case that you're so busy that actually it's a rarity that you get to sit down and look at your phone. But for other people, it can be a kind of time of hibernation. It can be a time of quietness. It can be a time of that in between Christmas and New Year bit where you haven't got that much to do. And you just find yourself sat on the sofa scrolling and scrolling. Also, if you've already built up bad habits when it comes to using your smartphone, then it could just be that you want to be physically present with your family, you want to be engaged, but you can't help reaching for your phone because you've built up that habit and your subconscious is constantly telling you to go and check your phone, to scroll on Instagram, etc. So if you would rather be spending this festive period really present and also use it as a time to improve your well-being as well, then reducing your smartphone use is definitely a good idea. And the important word here is reducing, not getting rid of it, not going, I'm going to have 2 weeks completely away from my phone. It's all about reducing your smartphone use. So the first thing I would recommend is that you set yourself a little challenge of what you would like to do when it comes to your smartphone use. So have a look at your screen time right now, what your average screen time is per day, and maybe set yourself a challenge to reduce it. Now that reduction could be whatever you want it to be. If it's particularly bad, you might decide you want to reduce it by 50%, or you might just think maybe 20%. I want to use my phone less, 20% less in the day. So that's where you want to start, by setting yourself a little goal, because then you're going to be looking at the numbers and kind of driving yourself towards that goal. And that goal is very much personal, but also make sure it is realistic. I'm not going to talk about the benefit of SMART goals, SMART goals, but one of those things within that SMART goal framework is that it is realistic. So if you're currently using your phone for, say, 9 hours a day, and you're like, no, I'm going to reduce that down to 1 hour a day, that is a massive leap. If you decide, actually, I just want to claw back a couple of hours a day, so I'm going to take it down to 7 hours a day, that's a little bit more realistic and achievable based on your current habits. So set yourself a goal when it comes to what you want your screen time to be over the festive period. And then make sure you check in with that you're looking, am I achieving that goal or not? You could also, as a family, set up some kind of digital rules over the Christmas time. So it could be that those rules are things like no phones while we're playing games, no phones while we're at the dinner table. Maybe you have no phone time. So if you're all watching a movie together, that's no phone time. If you all go out for a walk, no one's going to be scrolling on their phone at that time. So kind of do it as a family, particularly if you've got sort of teenagers who also have devices that they can take out of the house. Set the kind of the ground rules that we're all going to stick to this, and we're all going to, have those times where we're much more present together and digitally switched off as well. The third thing I would recommend is making sure you replace your typical phone time with something else. So if you don't work between Christmas and New Year and you find it's quite a quiet time and you don't really do much at all, this could be a good opportunity to learn a new skill. I talk about it a lot, but one thing I do is crochet. I've been crocheting for years now. And the great thing with crocheting is it keeps your hands busy. So you can't scroll on your phone at the same time as crocheting, which is super useful. And it means that kind of in that quiet time between Christmas and New Year, when I've got any downtime, you'll probably find me snuggled up on the sofa crocheting a blanket or some such like. So having that kind of new skill that you're learning, or something maybe that you already do that's quite crafty, or maybe it's something that you kind of associate with Christmas. For example, I often do a jigsaw over Christmas. I don't know why, it's just one of those things. Get a jigsaw on the go, maybe that you all do together as a family. Again, while you're doing a jigsaw, you're not going to be scrolling on your phone. So replace your phone use with something else. That's really important, because if I just say to you, oh, use your phone less, and you're sat on the sofa going, yeah, but I'm really bored and I don't know what to do with myself, you're going to pick up your phone. So instead of picking up your phone, do something else. So make yourself a little list of things you could do instead of looking at your phone while you're still having some relaxed, chilled downtime. Another thing I would recommend is using this time to maybe do a little bit of a phone refresh. This means getting rid of any apps that you've barely used this year. Maybe also you could get rid of all the apps that are kind of glaring at you on your home screen and hide them away in different folders. So, for example, having a social media folder that contains all the social media apps rather than as soon as you unlock your phone, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever your scrolling app of choice is there staring at you, inviting you in. It's a good opportunity to take some time to just organize those apps a bit better and possibly delete them if you find you barely use them. And talking of phone admin, other things you can do as well are set app limits. So this is where you can say you're only allowed on certain apps for a certain amount of time. You can set your downtime. So for example, it might be that you want to set your downtime from 9 o'clock at night till 10 in the morning. That's how I have mine set, so that I don't go on my phone in bed, I don't go on my phone first thing in the morning, and so on. So having all that kind of phone admin in place means you're starting 2024 with a much kind of more positive relationship with your phone, and one that's already set in place what downtime you want. And then finally, and this might feel very extreme to some of you, and to others it might feel completely freeing, maybe think about deleting some apps over Christmas, particularly if you find that you get a bit of comparison syndrome, comparing your Christmas to someone else's because you're staring at everyone else's Christmases on Instagram, for example. Why not delete social media over Christmas? Take a little bit of time away from it. You can reinstall it all in the new year. This isn't a delete it forever approach. But just deleting the apps means that you're not pulled to the constant scroll. You're not pulled to that comparisonitis. Make sure you've got something else to do, going back to that point of replacing it with something else so that you don't pick up the habit again quickly. But having something else to do can be really helpful. Deleting the apps can be really helpful in stopping you going on them because they're not there on your phone. And also, it can be a really good way of actually changing your habits and your relationship with your phone. Because you're not kind of just picking it up and going, oh, I'm going to scroll on TikTok, or you're not subconsciously finding yourself suddenly caught in an Instagram reel maze. Because you haven't got that opportunity, they're not there on your phone. So maybe think about deleting. If that leaves you feeling cold, then you could just set up app limits, or maybe have a day where you delete the apps and then reinstall them the next day. But it's a really, really good way of realizing how reliant you are on your phone. If you delete the apps and keep finding yourself going for them, and you feel at first a little bit despondent and lost without them, it could be a signal that maybe it's time to just have a more positive relationship with your phone, and one that isn't draining so much of your time away from you. So let me know in the comments, what are you going to do over the festive period when it comes to your phone use? Is it going to be a case of ramping it up and you're going to find yourself sat scrolling more and more? Or are you going to take that time to maybe switch off a little bit more, be more present with your family, and enjoy the festive time for what it is? Just a really nice, joyful time. And as I always say, the whole point of life is finding joy. And if you're not finding that with your phone, then it's time to reduce your phone use. And if you would like to take steps in 2024 to use your phone less, then check out my short course. I'll pop the link below, which is all about reducing your phone use, and wishing you a lovely, wonderful, joyful, relatively phone-free Christmas. Take care.